everybody. Welcome today. Yep, today's going to be one of those days. It's going to be a busy day, much like yeah, much like Allison. I have my tea ready here. I am not the tea expert, though. She is. She's the one to write and ask about the teas. Several people did apparently, so that was kind of cool. Anyway, welcome today. We've got a lot going on here. I want to kind of make some announcements and tell people kind of what's going on here before we get started here for just a second. But we do have a tremendous amount taking place here. I've got one little quick thing I have to fix real quick. Give me just a second. Let me switch that over real fast. I'll be right back with you. There we go. Thank you. Sometimes things are on the wrong screen and there's no easy way to fix them. You have to just kind of move them around. So anyway, welcome. Many of you know there's quite a few screens in here. So anyway, welcome today. We got a lot of things going on like Allison. Not only do I have my tea, but I also have my notes. Today I have notes. You can't see them. They're just off camera here, but I have to look down once in a while because we got a lot of things taking place. So today, anyway, first thing I want to tell you, here in Vegas, it's getting kind of crazy here. Today we have the first day of what they've brought down to the EDC. The EDC is the Electric Daisy Chain. In other words, it's a massive party. That's what it is. They take over the old race, they take over the raceway, and they just completely bring all these people in for a 3-day party, which starts today. 180,000 people are here just for that. Now, we're in Vegas, so Vegas can handle 180,000 people without a problem. But this is off the strip. This is not on the strip. So there's going to be traffic. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff. We're just going to kind of stay in my lane today and kind of stay right here as much as I can this weekend. So anyway, welcome everybody. It is kind of a crazy. On top of that, the weather. I just got to talk for a second about the weather because it's just, again, it's all over the place. Yesterday we had our first here in Vegas. We had our first 3-digit weather, which was 100. I think we got up to 102, which is very comfortable for us. Here in Vegas, 102 is actually pretty comfortable. 90 to 100 is very comfortable. That's our open door weather where we don't have to turn on the air conditioner or other things most of the time. And it's been like that. It's been really beautiful. So yesterday, I started a new hobby is what's happened. I don't know if you've ever seen them or not, but they're called wood spirits. And basically you take a stump of a tree and you carve a face into it with a chainsaw. So I started doing that just out of fun because I just love to create things like that. So I started creating these wood spirits, but in order to do that, you have to be outside. You can't use a chainsaw inside. And not only but just the wood chips, everything else, it's a mess. So I took it outside, 102 degrees out there. So I set up a nice little canopy. Right? Big canopy, probably about 20 feet or maybe 15 feet wide by 15 feet. Really nice. I had a wonderful day out there carving with my chainsaw and doing all the fun things I'm doing and having a ball with it. This morning, I came out there. The frame of the canopy is still there. The logs from the canopy, everything else are still there. But everything else, including the canopy itself, ended up in the pool this morning. So we have winds this morning that are unbelievable. In fact, we're not even supposed to reach 75 or maybe 80 degrees today if we're lucky. Next couple of days before we get back into the heat again. But that's due to the incredible amounts of winds we have. We have up to 45-mile-an-hour gusts going on right now. So I don't think I'm going to be out there much today. But I just wanted to tell everybody because it was such a change of energy. Yesterday we had this absolutely gorgeous day. And today it's almost like I think they call it a blustery day. Wasn't that what Winnie the Pooh called it? Blustery. So anyway, we're back with that today. So welcome today. We've got a lot of things going on. That's why I do have some notes. I will be looking at them. I even have my glasses if I need them. But we had something happen the other day. We had one of our Earth Overview series, which is the one day that we have it goes up to 2 hours, but it's one day event where the observer tries to give a really large overview of one aspect. And a couple of days ago, observer took us out in the universe and showed us life on different planets. And I thought that was really fascinating and really interesting. And I didn't know why it was so important to do right at that moment. But now I'm starting to see a little bit of why they wanted to do it exactly at that time and what that was all about. And we fortunately did know about this just before the class started. I found out that in Congress, they're having a big UFO meeting. And this was just a couple of days ago. And they had the first UFO meeting about UFOs here in the United States. And it's really the first time it's ever come before Congress like that where they actually discussed it. Why now? What brought that up? Well, strictly technology. Technology has improved so much that there are now drones that can take pictures of things and movies of things that have never been taken pictures of before. And that's what's happened. Since these new drones have been released here in the United States for observation, and of course, they're top secret, so nobody really talks about it, but since they've been released, we have over 400 sightings just recently of UFOs and unexplained phenomena. We'll put it that way for now. Are we being watched? Yes, of course we have. We've always been watched. So what's new about that? What's new about it is we now have the technology that can actually prove it. And that's why they're trying to figure out what's happening. Is there a big conspiracy, secrecy thing where no government wants to talk about it? There was. But that was a few generations ago. That had, according to the group, that was two people primarily. That was Dwight D. Eisenhower made the biggest deal, but before that, Franklin Delano Roosevelt made a deal with incoming, visitors, shall we just say. So anyway, it was really a fascinating thing, but I did want to point that out because we are starting to close the gap between what a lot of people know in their hearts and what we can prove in their heads. And that's very confusing on planet Earth because you're all creator beings. So what you tend to know in your heart, you'll create anyway. So this is a really fascinating time on planet Earth because we've got all these creations coming up from all sorts of different aspects. And it's a really fascinating time to be here. So welcome home, everybody. I got to see what's next on the agenda here because I can't quite read them all. Oh, one other piece that I did want to bring up. The group has been talking for quite some time about solar flares. We are getting them. They're coming in very, very nicely right now. I don't know how many X class we've had. We've probably had 5 or 6 that I've seen come across my desk, but we're getting a lot of M class solar flares. M is simply the medium class. And I don't know the numbering system, but we're getting a lot of M5s, 5.1s, 3.2s. And I do know that the X class goes into the 20s because the highest X class solar flare we've ever had is X24. So we're getting what we need from the sun. And that is a huge piece because we are vacant on a lot of energy from the sun that the sun can be filling up now that it's back in its season, so to speak. And we have seasons of the sun. They go every 11 years. It switches poles and starts a whole new solar cycle. So we're in solar cycle 26, and it's getting kind of exciting here. We weren't expecting much from the sun. And that's what the group was concerned about. You can see the different solar cycle 23, 24, 25, and 26 was supposed to be way down here. If we would have gotten that, we would have been in trouble on planet Earth. She would not have what she needs to support us. That is changing. What's happened now is this cycle is starting to be up here already. And it looks like it might even be higher than that. So even though science does not agree with the group that this is good for Earth, they just don't really know too much about what the neutrinos do and how they work with us in different ways. And the group specifically about neutrinos. And Steve knows very little about it. So I'm just trying to translate as much as I can, but they're excited about the increase in solar flares. You can also sign up. You can go to nasa.gov. There's a separate place where you can sign up for notifications, which is what I did. I think it's $4.95 a month. They send you an email every time something on the sun takes place and kind of, does different things. Quite honestly, I get way too many emails, so I kind of stay away from some of that. But this has been very helpful especially since the group was very concerned about this solar cycle being what was predicted, and there was a reason for that prediction. I mean, that was an accurate prediction at the time it was made, and yet we're still seeing a huge lack of energy here. This is actually going to help in a lot of different ways, including the water rising. I don't know how that all comes together. I'm not a scientist, but I will tell you, or a geologist, but I will tell you that that's what the group is saying. Life's a little more comfortable right now because of that. So this is a really good piece. Now, also, we're going to change a couple things. We talked a little while ago. We've started the empowerment series, which is really it's taken the place of Lightmaster. Lightmaster was the one that you could come in, and each week we would take you to a little different level, and they were all connected. Even though this month we'd be focusing on this, and this month we'd be focused on this, they're all connected. That is the empowerment stream right now. They're all connected. And we're going through some pretty exciting things here. This next one that we're going to be doing is spending 3 days resetting signature rhythm. That has never been brought up before. They've talked about signature rhythm. They've talked about it many times. Signature rhythm is the base energy rhythm that you carry in your physical body. And furthermore, if you get sick, if you get out of rhythm and you're able to reintroduce your signature rhythm, you heal yourself very quickly. And that's something the group has talked about for many, many years, but they've never talked about resetting the signature rhythm. And that's what we're going to be doing. It's more than just, I know some of you have attended some of the rhythm things where we do the drumming and we do the other. We'll do a little bit of that on the last day, but this is going to be resetting rhythms having to do with your eating habits, having to do with your sleeping habits. We're going to work with your circadian rhythms. We're going to work with your eating. We're going to work with the physical rhythms in the physical body. And you can choose which ones you want to reset. I mean, we're not going to do them all in that short an hour and 15-minute class, but we're going to give you the tools to do it, give you the ideas and where to work with them. And you choose which ones you want to work with. But the idea is to reset. You know, I do a lot of technology. That's, I think you can all see that. I think you've seen that before. If I can find the right mouse, that's my biggest problem, finding the right mouse half the time. But as you can generally see, I do a lot of technology. So technology is interesting because the funny thing about technology, if you have a problem with technology, 99% of that problem can be resolved with a reboot. Same's true with the signature rhythm. That's what we're going to be doing. So with that, here, I'll come back over here. With that, we'll be working with these energies coming up in a day. The EOS is working, the EES, excuse me, we get into our acronyms here, but the empowerment stream is working really well to what we do because people can come in when they want. And furthermore, since we don't require, you can sign up for the year, but you can also leave at any time. We did that intentionally because we know that if you're in there and you want to see what's coming next month and the other profs, you're probably going to stay with us. But if not, absolutely cancel at any time. That's the deal. And if you stay in for if you sign up for the 6-month or the 12-month, again, cancel at any time, you get that extra day. You get the extra special access day that that's where we do the Lightmaster stuff that we used to do. That's where we do the eye exercises that we do. That's where we do a lot of the different processes that we've been working with. So anyway, that's staying the same. There is something else changing, though, with the EOS, the Overview series. And that's the big one. That's the one that Observer wanted to start. He wanted to give big pictures of certain topics. And we just finished one. We just finished, which one did we do? I can't remember them all. Anyway, we just finished one. He took us out to these different places. That's where he did. Observer took us to different locations. I think we went to maybe 3 or 4 different, and he didn't just take us to any other game throughout the universe. He took us to games that we could relate to. If there was let's just say that there was a planet full of worm beings, we probably couldn't relate to worm beings very well. So he took us to places where we had physical bodies very similar to ours, many of them even in a duality planet similar to ours. And he took us and he showed us some of the pieces that relate to us. And he also showed us specifically how everything else besides planet Earth has a level of predirection. We're on the planet of free choice. We have to choose our direction. We have to choose what we listen to. We have to choose what we want in our lives. But the reality is that predirection is on these other planets. And he showed us what that was like. He showed us in many different ways. He showed us here on planet Earth what it was like to be a bee or to be an ant, where you also had the collective consciousness besides the individual consciousness. And that's pretty much what it was like to have a predirection and have other connections to where you're going. We don't have that here on Earth unless we learn to listen to spirit, which is kind of what we're doing here. So anyway, that's the other piece that we're kind of picking up with it. On the overview series, the group told me from the beginning that this was going to be a temporary series. And we are not done with that. There's still several big pieces they want to talk about, but the next one is a big one, and it's about the future humans. They want to talk about what humanity is going to look like even in the next 100 years, what that's going to look like in our time here on planet Earth, and how that's going to divide out, what the physical bodies are even going to look like. Because this evolutionary process we're in right now is right at that tilting point. If you look back at history, you can see different points where Cro-Magnon man came in, Neanderthal man came in, and it appears to have happened overnight. It didn't. It took hundreds of years, but that's where we are right now. And that's what's taken place. So with that process, the group wants to bring that in. Now, this is a big one. And even though we have a big 2-hour thing, we're going to start moving this particular, the overview series to a 2-day series. And it's going to get actually longer is what's going to happen with it. It'll allow us to really get into the material deeper and be able to get it, and we can stretch it out that way. Not only will it be longer in length, because it'll probably end up being like 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2.5 hours, somewhere in that neighborhood. So anyway, the idea of that is that we need to stretch this out into 2 days. Now, we know that everybody's having difficulties with finances here. You're not alone. We're having financial problems ourselves right here, and everyone is right now. We're reshuffling things around and trying to figure it out. We want to help. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to expand this series into 2 days, and we're not going to raise the price. We're going to keep the price at the $77 price range that it has been. Don't know how long this series will go on. This was meant to be a temporary series in the beginning, but we are going to continue this out for 2 days, not only coming up for this particular one about future human, but also about the ones coming up in the future as well. And we'll let you know with those just as soon as I can. It's easy for Steve to get very confused as to which one we're talking about and so forth. So I have a system laid out so that I don't get confused. They don't get confused. I get confused. So anyway, we have a system laid out to be able to work with that in lots of different ways. Okay, I think I made it through. Yeah, let me take a drink of my tea. And right, Allison, she'll tell you the best teas. With that, we're going to move over to this. We do have Allison with us today. We've got, of course, Meg with us as well today. So we're honored to be here working with you. Thank you all for coming together in this magnanimous way. Oh, one other piece I forgot to mention. The GlobalLight. When for 25 years or 20 years, some odd, we did the Virtual Light broadcast. I think it was 23 years. We did the Virtual Light broadcast, and we always did it on a weekend. And when we started doing the GlobalLight, we know that you can watch this when you want. You don't have to watch it live, although people do enjoy watching it live. You can watch it 5 minutes after it's over with. You can skip through it. Right now, you can back up. I don't know if you knew that or not, but you can actually back up right now. So, well, it depends on which ones you're watching it at. We're broadcasting in 3 different ways, so it depends on which one. Anyway, the this process here is also going to be moving from the weekday, Wednesday, that we normally picked to Saturday. We're going to try it. We're going to kind of monitor it and see if that helps. We know we can see. We have to do a lot of research to see because we don't use one broadcaster. We use Boxcast. We've used Vimeo for years, but I won't go anywhere near them now. Anyway, I'm using 3 different broadcasters basically. YouTube is one of them right at the moment. So in those different things, we'll see which way we go out and how that works. But on these, we can actually see with a little effort how much everybody's watching and if that works for you. So we're going to move the GlobalLight to Saturday. It'll be next month. It'll be on Saturday. Check the calendar. You have a place on Aspava where you can go in and see the event calendar. It is always up to date because we change it before we make the announcement. And you can see what's going on there, going forward as far as what time frames and when we're doing things. Anyway, welcome today. Glad you're all here. I'm going to be stepping over here and going into channel right now to bring you the first channel and the healing circle that we're going to be doing. Aspavo, everybody. We're really happy that you're all with us here today. Aspavo. I'm going to take just a couple of quick breaths and be right back. Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I join you with such pride this day, for you are moving at an incredible pace. Yes, we can see the challenges that it causes sometimes when humanity starts evolving at these extreme cases, but it's also very exciting to see what's taking place. So welcome home. Let us say that first. In the beginning here this day, we would love to bring you together because you are all creator beings, each and every one of you. You have a magnificent opportunity to work throughout time, space, to bring everything coming forward. So join me for just a moment. And let's begin. Let your eyes close naturally, comfortably. And for just a moment, just let yourself be. Every breath that you're taking, become aware of whether it's an in-breath or an out-breath. Feel your eyes and your spirit getting brighter with every breath that you're taking. Marvelous. And at this time, dear ones, we're going to open the healing circle. But before we do, we're going to create a time bubble. The time bubble simply means that this healing circle will go inside the time bubble and will not be affected by time. In other words, it won't get old. It also means that later on, when other people join in, that they'll be joining in the current time. So right now, inside this time bubble, take a deep breath and just explode. Just let your energy move out into the universe with all the vigor that you have. Beautiful. Well done. And now with another deep breath, we're going to open the healing circle. The healing circle has no judgment, dear ones. Illness is not wrong. Take whatever you'd like to put in this healing circle for yourself. Even if it's just feeling better or being more on purpose. Take a deep breath, and from your own heart, let it drift out into the middle of this time bubble. And all the beings throughout the universe can focus their energy on this challenge right now. When creator beings hold hands, dear ones, the effect is exponential. Not 1 to 1, but 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. You are magicians. You are the creator beings of this beautiful planet. So allow yourself to receive that energy now. Take it all in. And feel those crinkly lines that have gotten compressed for one reason or another. Feel them all starting to straighten out. Almost as if you were removing the knots from your hair. Feel the energy just clearing. Excellent. As you let it go. Perfect. And now if you wish to bring someone else, especially if you have asked them permission, bring them forward. The healing work that you're doing is for you, not for them. But why not? Why not heal yourself in regard to them? Take a breath, dear ones, and let that energy move. Put it into the middle of the circle, into the time bubble as it moves through. Excellent. And now take a deep breath for just a moment and we'll clear all of it out. Take the time bubble and start it fresh from anew. Good. And now we're going to bring in one of the challenges of the planet. There are many. There's so many things going on where humans are suffering. And you can send it to wherever you'd like in the planet. Because there's a lot of need right now. You're seeing it everywhere. A lot of it has to do with this war that you're having. I would like to send some energy right now to the Ukraine and the people of the Ukraine, of which this family has many. The courage and the energy. Because what is taking place right now has an opportunity to be the last war. Wouldn't that be a dream worth having? Wouldn't that be an idea worth creating? What if this were the last war? Take that dream, that hope, place it in the healing circle, in the time bubble. Good. Yes, we know there are many things on all sides trying to move you in this direction, trying to point you over here. But you're all humans, dear ones. If you just reach your hands out to help each other, everything will change very rapidly. And as we've said before, you're closer than you think. So now we have one other piece we'd like to bring to you. But take a deep breath and just clear the energy out. Shake your hands. Just release all that negativity for a moment. Excellent. There's one other aspect that would help to know about planet Earth at this point. There's so many things taking place in such rapid succession that it's difficult to actually put your handle on some of the other aspects that are having a huge impact. You've lost a lot of people. We've mentioned that before. We even told you well before it happened that it was going to take place. It's still taking place. You're still losing a huge amount of people on planet Earth. Now, It's not really a failure, dear ones. Many being called home for various reasons, even to assist in this next step, this next evolutionary process. But as they leave a vacancy behind. They leave a hole where there once was something. They leave a vacuum that used to be filled with love. And as a result, you have grieving going on this planet at huge rates. Now, interestingly enough, it's not seen as that, because that's not how it's showing up. The truth is, if you saw one walking down the street, you could never tell by their outside appearance if they were grieving or not. But what you will tell is that they'll be very quick to anger. And if you can get them angry enough, you can make them do things. And that's taking place. But we also tell you it has a lot to do with the huge wave of grief that is on this planet. And very few are aware of it other than the effects that it's having on everyone every day. So let's work on that. Let's take the energy from those who have left, from the master healers that have dared to go home, and redirect that energy through our own beings right now into this healing circle. And invite everyone into this healing circle who has lost someone in the last few years. Because that vacancy will create an energy. It will control lives. And if it's unknown, it will be unexpected. If you're aware of it, you'll see it for what it is. You'll move through it, you'll feel it, you'll see it in others, and you'll have tolerance. That is the greatest gift that you can give in this situation. So take a deep breath, dear ones. Bring all those people that have lost someone, or you, step in the center of the circle for a moment. Let's send all the energy to them that we can right now. Open that heart. Make it work. Well done, dear ones. Well done. You are the magicians of the game board, and we've said that many times, but your magic is now being pulled forward. You are creating increments of time-space for which things can heal, things can evolve. You are incredible creator beings. Well done, dear ones, well done. And with that, take a deep breath, and we start to close this healing circle. But it never really closes because it's in a time bubble. It will be there to draw upon, to put your energy into, and to draw from forever. And next month, we'll create another one. So take a breath and give thanks for that for which you are grateful for increases in your life. It is the basis of your creator beings. And as you relax, allow yourself to come in. Know that you're never alone. And we love you dearly. It is with the greatest of honor, dear ones, that we ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together as you create this new game. Aspavo, dear ones. I am observer. And I do like to watch.
Hi everybody, so nice to be here with you on the Global Light broadcast for June. Let's get into it. I want to talk about a lot of different components today. I want to talk about nature versus machines. I want to talk about statistics that are alarming right now about chronic stress, and I want to talk about the concept that we are whatever we believe we are, and I want to really pull that apart and dive into it. And then we'll pull it all back together at the end with tools that you can use daily to start to shift what you believe. So let's jump in. Why does it always feel so good to be in nature? Is it actually healing for us? What happens when we are in nature? What happens to our bodies when we slow down and we take in viscerally the sights and the smells and the sounds? We can literally feel our bodies shift into parasympathetic drive, right? That usually, if you imagine right now, sitting in the middle of Central Park, just close your eyes and imagine sitting on a park bench on a warm spring day. You can smell all of the flowers and feel the sun on your face and that warm breeze through your hair. And the first thing we tend to do is, and in that exhale, that longer exhale, our bodies shift into rest and digest. We shift into parasympathetic drive. And what takes place in that shift is the blood flow that has been shunted away from the immune system moves back. That begins to turn on our healing genes. When our immune systems have the resources, that's why we call it shifting back into rest and digest. Rest, digest, resources. Those resources become a state of homeostasis. Our bodies know how to put themselves back in balance if they have the resources. That is something we consciously need to pay attention to, because if we are in chronic stress, we are not in a state of resources. We do not have the resources to heal or to digest our food properly or to think clearly. So when we sit in nature and we shift into parasympathetic drive, that begins to feel like healing. That begins to feel joyful, peaceful, harmonious. And what we're actually doing in a way is connecting to the Earth's subconscious mind, right? Her subset of beliefs. And think of it this way. The Akashic record is the records of, it's our collective subconscious mind with all of those records stored of every experience, every memory, every happening in the field, in the universal field. And it has all the answers, doesn't it? It's being plugged in, so to speak, to resources, vast amount of resources, because if it is every memory that's ever existed, then it's every healing that's ever occurred. It's every successful business venture or abundant windfall or romantic partnership, love. It's joyful, it's peaceful, it's harmonious. So we have access to everything. And when we sit in nature, we plug in. And think about the earth's beliefs. Think about the wisdom of the trees. They are inclusive. They do not compete with each other. A mighty oak does not try to be a lavender plant. They know who they are and they express all of themselves. And as we sit and we take in the trees and the grass and the birds and the flowers, we are connecting with an ancient source of wisdom, of harmony, of peace, of inclusion, of homeostasis, of balance, of healing. So what actually takes place in your body? Your body shifts into parasympathetic drive, takes in all those resources, because in a way, when we're in nature, the earth becomes like one of our parents, right? She's a mother figure to us. And in hypnotherapy, we pay close attention to authority figures, because authority figures, they immediately just become beliefs to us. We just take them in as truths and believe them. Whatever our parents told us when we were younger, we believed about ourselves. And so if we apply that to being in nature, we are taking in our mother figure, her beliefs, and her beliefs are all inclusive. All the resources you'd ever need. Healing is inferred and implied. Balance is normal. And she is always balancing herself. So imagine what you're capable of. Now in Japan, they've been reporting high levels of healings because of forest bathing. Now forest bathing is done if you can be out in the forest, literally bathing in, taking in all the sunlight, taking in the trees, taking in all of the senses around you. But most of this in Japan is being done by virtual reality because their city populations are so dense that they don't have natural forests to go to unless you have the ability and the means and the time to travel. So they are doing them with virtual reality goggles. And here's the thing, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between it actually happening or you fabricating it. So you're getting all of the benefits right from your own home. And the levels of healing are going up exponentially because people are forest bathing through virtual reality on a daily basis. It's powerful when you think about what's available to you versus the advancement in technology. And technology is wonderful. The things that we are capable of, creating online communities for good, staying in touch with each other. But we can get so wrapped up in our technology that it can become detrimental. It can become a distraction. It can become a source of self-judgment. It can become, for years, women have talked about, it used to be magazines in my generation growing up, that we would see magazines in the grocery store and every woman in the magazine looked perfect. Perfect cheekbones, no lines on their face, no cellulite on their body, clear crystal eyes, happy, joyful, perfect life. Everything was perfect. And so we had this model to us that if we were not that, then we're not good enough, right? Something must be wrong with us. We're not pretty enough, we're not lovable, and so forth. And technology today has amplified that because there are apps where you can literally put filters over your face before you put a picture up online of where you are, or you're on vacation, or you're sharing with your friends. And our youth are being affected. And I'm going to get into those staggering numbers in a minute. I want you to consider one last piece when you're thinking about nature, and I want you to think about the divine laws, the laws of the universe and the laws of nature, and that they are 4 billion years old. And so whenever you are connecting with nature, you are accessing ancient wisdom that can offer you what you're looking for, that peace, that harmony, and that balance, because in those divine laws, through divine love, through balance, through harmony and inclusion, problems can't exist in that same space. They can't occupy the same space. You cannot be destitute and filled with divine order and love in your beliefs. You cannot suffer and be at peace. And I want you to really think about what occupies your mind every day. Did you know that we are currently in an alarming mental health crisis amongst teenagers? The statistics are, as I mentioned before, staggering. The numbers that are decreasing, which is a good thing, they are decreasing in trying smoking. That's a good thing. Trying marijuana at a young age. Sex. And hours of watching television. Those numbers are all going down. However, the numbers that are rising at an alarming rate are persistently feeling sad or hopeless. Those numbers are up 28% in males and 45% in females. Seriously considering suicide. Those numbers are up 12% in males and 25% in females. Those that actually had a suicide plan, they are up 11% in males and 20% in females. And those who were injured in an actual suicide attempt were up 3% in males and 5% in females. Think about all of those for a minute. What is happening in our young minds? And what can we do to help? One thing they all had in common was an increase of 3 hours or more on their cell phones per day. That did not include doing homework. And I'm not blaming phones or phone companies, but what we need to recognize is that this is certainly an inflection point of changing lifestyles. Remember when you were a kid, we didn't have phones. We were out in nature, weren't we? We did our homework and then we went out to play and we saw the kids on the street. Our teenagers are not living that way now. Society has changed massively. There has been a massive shift for everyone, not just our teenagers, but everyone, which has resulted in being indoors increasingly more and more, socializing and interacting less, and sleeping less. The statistics are showing that people are sleeping less. We need 8 solid hours of sleep every night, like I talked about on the last broadcast, for our bodies to complete their detoxing processes. We need to be able to wake up on our own and not be jolted out of sleep by an alarm. We need to complete our processes. We need 8 hours every night. Some people, 6, as long as you're waking up on your own and you're feeling refreshed. But for most of us, it's 8 hours. Did you also know that there are predominantly 3 different kinds of stress? There's physical stress, and physical stress is you have an accident, you break a bone, you have an injury, you have to have a surgery, physical stress. And then there's chemical stress. Chemical stress is viruses, bacterial infections, chronic viruses and infections, things that change our internal chemical structure. And then there's emotional stress. And the latter is the hardest to manage. Because neuroscience is now showing that 90% of the thoughts that we think are the same thoughts that we thought yesterday and the day before that and the day before that and the day before that. We are thinking the same thoughts every day over and over. And most of those thoughts are about our problems. This means that more than likely your health, your affluence, your success, your love life, your interactions with others, your state of peace, joy, balance, harmony, safety will stay the same every day because the same thoughts lead to the same choices. And the same choices lead to the same behaviors. And the same behaviors create the same experience. So in effect, we are living like Groundhog Day over and over and over. There might be a little different set of circumstances that come in from the world, but our thought processes, how we process them, is the same. These same experiences continue to create the same emotions, right? So that's where we are leading into chronic stress. Keep thinking the same thoughts, having the same emotions. This influences our neurocircuitry, our brains. We think we're living differently, but in reality, we just keep creating the same set of circumstances over and over. If you keep thinking the same thoughts and making the same choices and doing the same things, reproducing the same experiences into the same brain patterns that all become what we define as you, or rather, they are so familiar to you, this is how we identify ourselves. That land, that makes sense? Think about that. What we're really doing is hardwiring our brain with sets of subconscious programming that we call me, you, us, I. 95% of who we are by the time we're in our 30s is a set of memorized behaviors. Take that in for a second. Tie that into 2 things. Where are the teenagers going? How can you influence their beliefs right now? Where are you? What are your set of beliefs? 95% of the way that you are behaving today, the thoughts that you are thinking, and the actions that you are taking based on those beliefs and the emotions that you are feeling and how you process the world is a set of memorized behaviors over and over and over again. This is why we don't get out of the loops. We don't get out of the blame or shame or judgment. We don't get out of, we leave one job to go to another job and the same setup happens again. We leave one relationship, get into another relationship. All of a sudden they shift their behaviors and you're back in that same dynamic again. Memorized behaviors. These are unconscious habits and automatic responses. Automatic beliefs and perceptions that are functioning automatically every day. Think about that. You wake up, you start your day, and the way that you behave, the way that you think, the way that you feel becomes an automatic response because it's subconscious. These are patterns in the brain that have become programming that you are unaware of, that just repeat all day, every day. So if you wake up in the morning and you start thinking about your problems, the moment you start thinking about them, you are pretty much remembering your past, aren't you? Let's think about this in terms of programming. You are living the past over and over every single day. Now, if our subconscious programming keeps the most traumatic experiences near the surface in order to keep us safe, what do you think we are comparing everything to and projecting from? Safety. We are literally taking everything in, weighing it against that programming, and then projecting back out our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs. And we do it over and over, automatically, on autopilot, every day, from this set of memorized behaviors. Remember, forest bathing, the subconscious mind cannot distinguish if the emotion brought on by the thought of the past isn't actually occurring in present time. So if we are forest bathing and healing via virtual reality, it believes we are out in this forest that we're seeing in virtual reality. The same holds true. If you are waking up every day and thinking about the problems and how you're going to manage, the subconscious mind does not distinguish that these sets of behaviors were determined years ago. And now you're just in a loop. It does not know the difference. So how do we break that loop, right? Basically what happens in this is our minds believe that we're living in our past experiences 24/7, thinking they're occurring in present time. And so we create this state of chronic stress because we are doing it over and over and over every day, all day, 365 days a year. Our brain does not know that these problems are not actually occurring in present time. Now, the set of circumstances you may be dealing with may be current problems, but how you approach them is from a set of memorized behaviors, from patterns that have been hardwired in your brain for decades. Is that starting to sink in? So all the emotions around whatever happened, around trauma or betrayal or scarcity or safety or whatever happened, are all derived in our body from hormones that are stress hormones. And we turn on and off those stress hormones when we are in traumatic situations. We turn on those stress hormones, right? That is how our blood is shunted from the immune system, from the digestive system, the reproductive system, and the higher thinking mind into our heart, our big muscles, so that we can fight, we can run, we can get out of the traumatic experience. That's a rise in cortisol, right? Those are stress hormones. And then we are to shift out of that when we are out of danger, when we have made it to safety. And then all those stress hormones are released, downregulated, our immune system then comes back online, digestive system, and so forth, because the body seeks homeostasis. But that's not what's actually happening in a world where we are in constant chronic stress. We are constantly in a state of stress hormones flooding our system. So we're not sleeping as much. We're worrying about things. We're on our technology all the time. The technology keeps us stimulated, the news cycles and so forth. And so over and over and over, we are in our subset of programming dealing with what's happening and never shifting back into homeostasis. We are constantly staying in this state of stress, thinking the same thoughts, having the same beliefs, approaching it the same ways. This over time downregulates our immune system, our digestive system, our reproductive system, and our ability to think clearly, and the body breaks down. This is where these labels come in. This is where diagnosis comes in. So what's important to take away from here? Nothing changes until we change. We. Neuroscience says that the neurons that fire together wire together, right? That's how we create programming in our brain. So in other words, if you keep thinking the same thoughts, you keep getting the same results. And if you think new thoughts, you fire new neurons in the brain, and therefore new wiring is created in the brain. This is how we start to create new programming. We have to think new thoughts until the ones that feel familiar to us are reprogrammed. That's why there's some resistance or some fear. That's why sometimes we start to do something and then we sort of give up on it. We never finish it, or we procrastinate and we put it aside. It's a hardwired program that the subconscious mind says, wait, this is all designed to keep you safe. I've got trauma here. I've got betrayal here. We're not just going to think these new thoughts. That's not familiar. I don't recognize that. This is familiar, staying in our little box that's safe. But it's also keeping us in chronic stress, right? This is where our programming needs to change, because it's contributing these subsets of pattern beliefs, since we're 95% of who we are since our 30s, is now working against us. Now our bodies have pain, we've got inflammation, we've got disorders going on, we're not thinking clearly, we're not digesting well, our bodies are swelling up, we're not managing well, we're in chronic stress. When we try to think new thoughts, there's resistance to it. We start to give up and go back to our old ways, because remember, these programs are what we identify ourselves as. They become who we are. They're not who we are. They are a set of learned behaviors that have hardwired your brain to identify as you. That's really important to know. So chronic disease, any kind of lack situation, consistently not having enough money, consistently not being healthy, chronic disease requires a lifestyle change. Health, wealth, self-love, so forth. Any chronic lack of that requires a lifestyle change. We have to change that autopilot response. We have to change those beliefs. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choices that you did the day before, right? Because it's subconscious, it's automatic. This is where we're sort of coming up against, I don't even know I'm doing it, I'm just doing it, and here I am again, recognizing it. I was trying to eat really healthy, and then the next thing I know, a half a chocolate bar is in my face, and I don't know what just happened, but I'm stress eating. And then we blame ourselves, and we go into a shame cycle. You see the loop, and how dangerous the loop is. But where the power is you are the only one that can change. You can't change others. They're not going to fix it for you. They're not going to do it for you. Everybody's got their own stuff. And that's okay. We all have programming. If we can all start looking at each other and recognizing that we all have programming, and be supportive of that as people make new choices, things could change. But we can't change another. We can only change ourselves. Because, why? Because it's your set of programming, your set of beliefs, and yours are different than everybody else's. What works for you may not work for them. They have to find their way. Their subset of beliefs needs to be addressed by them based on what they're experiencing and what they want. But you change you. And here's what happens. The moment you change and put yourself in alignment with those avalanches of abundance in those divine universal laws and beliefs, you start changing your beliefs to something that is so much more supportive of you, you begin pipelighting that out. Remember the law of correspondence. We've got projection, right? We project our beliefs. We've got attraction. We attract back that which matches those beliefs. And we've got pipelining, which is we just naturally transmute that out. So you start changing yourself and naturally transmuting that out, and you will see others around you, your partners and so forth, become inspired, start making changes, and you're not doing anything. It only requires one person to change in order to change the dynamic in any relationship, business, personal, colleagues, and so forth. Because it is your emotions that create your environment. That's really important to know. And in fact, it's what's creating your past over and over and over again, right? Those subsets of beliefs. And it's happening in each present moment, which is determining your body's health and wellness. It's determining the number in your bank account. It's determining your ability to get along with others. It's determining everything in your life. Think about that for a minute. It's your emotions creating your environment that's creating your past over and over again. So change that, you create your future in each present moment. And that is determining your body, your chronic health condition, and your healing. Because if your thoughts can keep you sick or in lack, and because it's unconscious, because that's subconscious programming, we tend to we project, and we look for things that we can say is the cause. So we think it's because this is happening in the world, this is going on, this company is doing this boss said this, we make it personal and so forth. But if we take that into our own selves and put that in our own wheelhouse, take responsibility for it, without it being about judgment or shame or fault. Responsibility is not a dirty word, people. It is one of my favorite words in the world, because if I can take responsibility for it, then I can change it to whatever I want. And that is the most powerful and liberating experience. Responsibility is a good thing, okay? If we can keep ourselves sick or in lack, then new thoughts, new beliefs create new emotions, don't they? The emotions that create that passion, that drive, those are the ones you want to feel. Healthy, wealthy, wise, joyful, peaceful, harmonious, inclusive, connected, and all those drive the new behaviors that produce the new results. And what are you doing? You're hardwiring your brain, right? Neurons that fire together, wire together. So you are creating new subset programming, new automatic patterns, so that you wake up every day feeling good in your body, feeling motivated to get on that treadmill, feeling excited about the creativity that you've got coming in for the job that you're doing, creating whatever your hobbies are, whatever your sidelines are, whatever your full-time job is, whether you're retired, it doesn't matter. You wake up with energy in your body, you wake up with passion, you wake up excited about what you're doing, you're making money easier, you've got a nice community of friends. You want joy, peace, harmony, happiness, wealth, wisdom flowing to you in your life, right? In avalanches flowing to you. That's where you want to be. That's a sweet spot. How do you program that in? You got to change your beliefs. You have to change your beliefs in order to create those emotions. It's why diets don't work. It's why that feeling of taking something away doesn't work. It's why just trying to make yourself do something different doesn't feel good, because you slide right back into those old patterns. So how do you begin to change those beliefs? You got to get into your programming. You got to get into those beliefs that you've been carrying around since your 30s, that 95% of your thoughts now are not new. They are just the same thoughts about the same past trauma that you are reliving every day, all day. You got to break the loop. And the way you break the loop is you got to get into that programming and collapse that programming and bring new beliefs in to drive those new emotions. Those emotions make you excited. That's the difference. You're not suffering. It's not being taken away from you. It's being given to you. You feel good. That drives your positive behavior. That means you start making changes, right? All of a sudden, things start feeling good again. When they feel good, you do things differently. Now you've broken the loop. Now you are in fire and wire. Now you're creating new programming that's positive dominant, that is drawing to you. You are projecting it out, attracting it back, right? This is the logistics of how we create our reality in front of us. It is based on subset programming and beliefs. And whatever you attach to the I am what? I am beautiful, I am healthy, I am happy, I am wealthy, I am kind, I am joyous, I am lit up. You can tell I'm excited about this topic, right? But whatever you attach to I am, you become. And if you're saying every day, yes, but, I can't do that, I can't do this doesn't work for me, I'm not that, I'm not this, you become it. That law of the universe it's only responsive. I want you to get that. The energy of the field is just this powerful energy of responsiveness. It responds to your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. It is as certain as the cycle of the moon. The sun will rise, the sun will set, the moon will rise, the moon will set. It is responsive. You are the only one that can change you. You are the only one that can decide you want things to be different. And there is nothing that you are looking at right now in front of you that can get in your way if you have the drive, if you decide it's time. So let us, in closing, each affirm every day, many times, that I am healthy, I am joyous, I am free, I am successful, I am creative, I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm peaceful, I'm harmonious. Start to fire new beliefs and wire those neurons together to believe that to be true for yourself. And if you find yourself stuck in a loop of repeating the same patterns over and over and you want to change them, reach out. I'm here. I'm happy to be of help for you. Clinical hypnotherapy is a wonderful modality to break those patterns and fire and wire new neurons together that support you, that help you create that life out in front of you. It is not as hard as you think. All you need to do is not be afraid to take responsibility for yourself and have a desire to change and a commitment to do the work. Isn't the rest of your life worth you changing what you believe about yourself? Because you are the only one that sees yourself that way. None of us do. I don't see anyone else that I look at as a failure. You have a belief about you, but that's your belief. And if it's no longer serving you, it's time to change. And it's time to be living those creative, joyful, beautiful experiences to help us balance what's happening on the planet right now. We need more successful, happy, joyous teachers, healers, light workers out there helping balance, right? And those people, you're going to come up with ideas of how we're going to create more programs for teenagers, of how we're going to help them change their belief systems that are occurring right now. And they won't have that set of beliefs by the time they're 30, right? By the time they're 30 or 35, you can change them right now, so that by the time they are 20 or 25, their subset programming is positive. They have amazing jobs to do here, and we need each and every one of them. But you are their authority figures. You become their programming. What you tell them and how you help them shift their beliefs by changing their thoughts. They've got programming right now and they've got to get into it, and you can help them do that, and I can help you learn how to do that. So thank you. With that, I will turn this back to the studio and wish you beautiful, harmonious, joyful, peaceful, loving, successful vibes. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your show, and I'll see you next month.
Thanks, Meg. You, like me, you're probably going to want to go back and watch it again. That had so much incredible information. An awesome job, girl. I'm very proud of you. By the way, the repetitive putting on the same belief systems and the same thought patterns and so forth. That's what the group calls the bodysuit. So it just fit right into a lot of things and a lot of really good jewels in that segment right there. I just found out about myself. I had no idea that I was an oak tree trying to be a lavender plant. Who knew? Anyway, welcome back, everybody. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Allison as well, and then we'll be back with the final channel from the group right after that. Aspava, everybody.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alison Chester Lambert. And I am a psychological astrologer from the UK, actually. I live in England. And so we are going to look at the astrology for the next 4 weeks. So we have had so far, since the sun moved into the beginning of the zodiac sign in March, we've had the sun in Aries, which is a very warmongering sign. And then just recently it moved into Taurus. And in a couple of days, it moves out of stubborn Taurus, I may say. Taurus is as self-centered as Aries and probably adds stubbornness to this. Whilst at the same time loving luxury and food and wine and everything. So the Taurian people are very sort of gentle, nature-loving creatures, but they are stubborn. Anyway, the sun moves into chatty Gemini in a couple of days and really moves into one of the more social signs at that point. We're getting much more sociable. Now, the problem with the last couple of months, in fact, the problem with, probably the last 4 months or most of this year, is that most of the planets are all grouped in one part of the sky. And they are spreading over the last 3 zodiac signs and so far the first 2 zodiac signs. Now, the problem with this is that the first 2 zodiac signs, that's Aries and Taurus, they're not terribly, they're not interrelational zodiac signs. They love relating, but it's not that they are excellent at it. They're very good actually at being self-aware and centered to the self. Nothing wrong with that. We often need to be. But they're not known for their INTER sort of relating skills. So that's them. And the last 3 zodiac signs are also not known for their interpersonal gifts. They're more transpersonal people. So we've got the ones who are concerned with the personal and the ones concerned with the transpersonal, very much highlighted in the sky, and none of the zodiac signs with the interpersonal skills. So you may have found that relating one-to-one has been a little more tense or difficult or lacking in some way. Something was missing. Some extra skill wasn't there and you weren't able to make the ends meet. The transpersonal signs are much more concerned with what's happening with the cosmos, the bigger group, the football match, not the intimate one-to-one dinner for 2. And so we haven't really had the energy around to just a bit to cuddle up really and just be nicely social with each other. And I think that shows. Well, when the sun moves into Gemini in a couple of days, then we do increase the amount of communication, the amount of interacting that we can do. And I think this will all round help, to be honest with you. I think this is what's needed. And Gemini is quite light and bright and really isn't an aggressive sign. In fact, Gemini, if anything, gets away as far away as possible from anger and war and this kind of thing. Gemini would do anything to avoid it. It really doesn't want to get caught in conflict. So that said, right, so I'm looking down at the astrology. Remember the astrology? And I'm looking down at this and going, great, sun moves into Gemini, 21st of May, nice. And then my eye keeps going down. I went, Mars moves into Aries 24th of May. So we get kind of 2 or 3 days where it might feel quite pleasant and we're all chatting away together on Facebook and everything's looking a lot more amiable than it has done. And then Mars moves into its own sign of Aries. Mars being quite a confrontational and aggressive and challenging planet. It is, after all, like energy, just energy, like giving yourself a shot of adrenaline or something. Moving into its own sign of Aries, this gives it complete freedom, right? This means that it really can go to town. And so we get this shot of Aries Mars energy. Oh, we didn't need any more, did we? So I was looking at it and I thought, okay. Oh, and then Venus goes into her own sign of Taurus. Oh. Now, you'd think this is good, right? If you look on the internet, you'll see that Venus is the goddess of love, right? And everything is tranquil and relaxed. No, not quite. I mean, by the time we got to Roman times, you know, that's what they would like to have thought of the feminine, you know, sit in the corner and don't speak until you're spoken to and be tranquil and relaxed and passive. But in actual fact, Venus, the planet, was well known in Babylonian times for her warlike ways. And this is where Taurus gets its stubbornness from, and its and equally its self-centeredness. So Venus moving into her own sign of Taurus, it means that we get to know and realize what we want and want what we want. And we have the bull behind us to get what we want. So now we've got Mars happy to set everything on fire, and we've got the bull ready to charge forward because it knows what it wants and wants what it wants. And okay, this is all self-centeredness again. So the sun in Gemini, I should think, will be hiding. Get me out of the way of these two planets. It's not useful. And okay, so when the sun does move into Gemini, the full moon and the new moon, so just for your notes, so the new moon is in Gemini on the 30th of May, and then the full moon is on the 14th of June in Sagittarius. Now, these peak moments become all about information and learning and science and broadening of horizons, the horizons of knowledge and spiritual understandings and stuff like this. So that in itself is not warlike, you see. We move on into this, into more educational stuff, intellectual stuff. But with these two planets in their own sign, they are banging a drum. And then when I look at the outer planets, I mean the really extreme outer planets, the newly discovered Kuiper Belt planets, I see that we've got a 90 degree, which is a square angle, going on between Pluto and Haumea. And so, okay, this is good in one respect. This continues to support the rise of the feminine, which is what this is all about. The whole gamut since 2020 is about the rebalancing of feminine energy and the reining in of masculine energy, because it's had its way for too long and the earth can't take too much masculine. We're running out of resources, etc. So there has to be a rise of the feminine to compensate. And okay, Pluto square Haumea is pretty much involved with that. Haumea is very much an earth planet and very much concerned with the earth, literally the earth, the crust, but also as a planet. Feminine, as Pluto is feminine as well, and is about generational stuff and things moving on to what they must become generating. But they are moving, they are coming up against each other and causing upheaval, like earthquakes going on underground, underneath us. And so there will be this movement, if you like, which continues the movement of the serpent as she awakes and starts to move the collective into a different course. So we still have quite a lot of this belligerence and so forth around. I think what we need to do really make the best out of it. I think it's all about just appreciating nature, appreciating what you can. It's a lovely sunny day out there today here in England. And it's about appreciating those things and being gentle to yourself and gentle to others, because that's a bit you can affect. But also your peaceful thoughts and peace of mind are shared with the great collective unconscious. There is a dialogue, an unconscious dialogue between each individual and the great soul lake or spirit lake. I think the best thing we can do is focus on that. And why not be a little centered to ourselves as well? Now, particularly gardening. Gardening at this time is just such a huge joy. And things like that, still in celebration of the newness. I think those are the kind of things that we just need to get on with. We have energies here which are youthful and vibrant and exciting. And yeah, let's just go with those. Hey, it's all go with the youthful, and we'll take advantage of that and let's move on. The old signs, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, which are the last three of the zodiac sign, they're in the northern hemisphere. Of course, they're around when it's quite cold for those countries which get cold in the winter and warm in the summer. And I always see them as rather lofty signs. Theirs really is not the interest of anything which is, as I say, interpersonal. Theirs is the interest of the far reaches of collective knowledge and stuff like this. And they're old souls, they're old signs. And so I always think of them as being like the old people that sit there and ruminate, and look down upon the young ones. So we've got those two energies. So I'm saying I'll go with the new stuff and the young stuff and forget about everything else. That's the best way. Don't forget to have a reading with me, by the way. It'd be lovely to see you on Skype. I work on Skype, which is, for me, less business-like than Zoom. So I prefer the familiarity and the less restriction stuff on Skype, and it suits my astrology program much better. Okay, and I would like to see you there, and have a great month. And yeah, good luck, everybody. Mwah! Lots of cuddles and kisses. Mwah! See you soon. Bye.
Right back at you, Allison. Thanks so much. It's wonderful to have these little guidance for the next month to see where things are coming. Awesome. I've got a correction here. I missed something when I was making all my announcements earlier. We only have three things actually that we're doing here that on Espavo. One is the GlobalLight that you're watching right now. That is going to move to Saturdays. As we mentioned here, next month it'll move to Saturdays for the first one. The other one that we've been talking about is the empowerment stream. The empowerment stream, you can sign up for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. You sign up for 6 months or 12 months, you get the longer piece. You get an extra day that we actually add in there just for you. Plus, on top of that, you get to ask personal questions. And what's happened so far is we've had so many questions, we actually put those in a separate day too. So you get a lot of extra stuff by signing up for the 6 and 12 month. And as we've mentioned before, there's no problem with canceling at any time you wish. We just want the commitment and to know that you're intending in that direction. That's the main thing. Okay, one piece that I did miss, because we've got the overview series, we've got the empowerment stream, and they're two different things. We charge differently for both of them. But the one that we've heard, and we have received emails from all of you, we've heard you. We know that many people are having difficulties, especially right now with inflation going through the roof here in the United States and other places in the globe. We're paying ridiculous amounts of money for gasoline, things of that nature, as we go through these next evolutionary steps, which are not necessarily easy. But nonetheless, here's what we're going to do, because I did miss one piece. The overview series, which we're now turning into 2 days, is still going to remain the same price that we had, even though we're putting extra material in there. It's going to stay the same price, but on top of that, we're offering a couple of discounts. Number one, if you've been to any of our events ever, you're what we call a family member, and you get a $5 discount off of that. If you are currently signed up for the EES, for the empowerment stream, we're going to give you a $10 discount off the EOS, off the overview series. And you come in when you want. It's not a series that you have to sign up for. Each one is different. Each month we'll tell you what we're doing slightly differently. But I did mention that before, and we did respond to that. We had a big staff meeting the other day to try and decide how we were going to respond to all the needs and the challenges here. And like I said, this is one way that we can do it. Not only can we extend into another day, but we're going to start giving you some discounts for it. All right, hope that helps. Anyway, we will be back in just a couple minutes, and what I will do is play for you the little promo video that we have about the next EOS, the overview series coming up, the big one. Yeah, it's going to be 2 days this time. It will be about a month from now. So basically, I don't I don't do dates anymore. They made me promise I wouldn't do that. So anyway, this will tell you a little bit about the next one that's coming up that we're going to take 2 days for. I'm very excited about it. Espavo. And then we'll be back with the group in just a moment. Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I join you with such an incredible pace, for your energy is moving at the speed of love, which is quite a bit faster now than the speed of light. Fascinating things are taking place in many areas, but as you evolve, there's some interesting things taking place. We wish to bring them to your attention simply as an overview, because that's what I do, and have you take that for what it is. Not that there's anything that has to be corrected, but more to be understood, because humanity is acting in a very interesting way right now. And it's not just one, it's everywhere. Have you noticed? There is a difference. There's a fear, and that's really what it is. There's a base fear beneath everything. It's almost as if someone had taken the rug and pulled it out from under everyone. And everyone's searching around for, where is my stability? What is that piece that I was going to hold on to? I woke up this morning and I was looking in a mirror. What happened to that mirror? It's gone. Does that mean that I'm not there? And there's a sense of reaching for something. Now, we've mentioned this many times because it's a very common thing for humans to go back in their own belief systems. That's what they typically do. They go back until they find something that they can grab hold of that used to work for them. So when fear comes up, and when fear is prevalent, especially amongst everyone, everybody feels that, including the planet. Now, the planet will take that energy and actually transform it into something that she can use positive for herself. But it's also very difficult to turn that positive energy back to the surface and help people with that energy. So what ends up happening is the negative energy spreads from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Even though it may not be given voice to, even though it may not be completely understood in those ways. So with that base energy, because what has happened? Well, you've had all sorts of things happen that have never happened before. The word unprecedented is being used unprecedentedly. Everything has changed, not just one thing. It's not just politics. It's not just belief systems. It's not just this. It's everything. But if you look at the globe in general, all places, you'll see something very interesting happening. People are moving back in belief systems, but not just back into belief systems. They're moving into extreme belief systems. How many extreme religions have you seen surface on the planet that maybe you didn't even know were there? Interesting. You're going to see more. That's what's happening. All of humanity has felt this little bit of a pull, this instability, this base fear that you don't know where the next step is going to be or what you're going to do with it. And as a result of that, immediately everybody moves back into who they used to be, into their old bodysuits even, to try on the old systems and the old belief system because they were standard. They were things that you could lean across. And even though the times have drastically changed, the belief systems don't work the same way. But it's going to take some time for humans to find that out and respond to that in a positive way. So in the meantime, there is going to be a lot of this re-going back to old belief systems and even extreme belief systems. And there are plenty of them out there. There's new ones coming up every day that that's what happens on the internet many times, is these things propagate in incredible ways. But nonetheless, it's not that the internet is wrong. It's just simply you're going to have so many choices. So choose what's right for you. And that's really what this comes down to, your choice, where you're at. Can you choose things that feel good to you? Can you choose to have positive thoughts when you wake up in the morning? Most of you don't have immediate control or conscious control over your thought process. So many times as you're coming out of the sleep mode and awakening to your conscious state, putting back on the bodysuit, the first thing you do is bring up the problems of yesterday. Yes, she was just talking about that. And yet those are the things that live in, and those are the pieces that you try to reconcile into your old belief systems. Sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't. Most of the time they don't, but you do it anyway because it's a comfort zone in those belief systems. There's a comfort zone in that old stability. So you bring it back again and again to try and make it work in different ways. And it's very confusing and a little frustrating for many. But the beautiful part about this is you can change. You can reset. You can even reset your own signature rhythm, which we'll be working with soon. But you can reset your own bodysuit at any time. You can choose new belief systems. Yes, they will be tentative until you get comfortable with them. And yes, if a big wave of energy comes on, you'll probably step back in a belief system or two or three or four. All of that is perfectly fine, dear ones. Do not judge yourself over that. That's not what we're asking. We're simply asking that you become aware of it. Because otherwise, you look around the planet and you will see that many places, ancient belief systems are starting to resurface and even gain stability. Why? Well, there's a lot of that coming forward. We'll let you determine why. It's not the important part. The important part is that it's happening. And it's been taking place in many places. You'll see it continue. So the best way to describe this is that humanity is going through a funnel. And all of these energies are being brought together to bring you to a higher state of vibration. And that is an evolution. But bringing everything through that funnel is causing all kinds of challenges, and that's where you see all the differences surfaces. And with all the differences surface, you'll see people stepping back in their belief systems into something comfortable that they can enjoy. Now, you must realize that many people actually enjoy being angry. It's simply a human condition. Sometimes people do very much enjoy getting into their frustration and really expressing it in many different ways. And it's wonderful to release that in different ways, and yet to propagate it around the planet intentionally only adds to the problem. So we're going to give you some insights about this and give you a challenge for you to take going forward for the next several weeks and see how this works for you. A couple different aspects about it. Number one, the challenge most people have when they experience these waves of change, which come through and which set people back in their belief systems, as that happens, generally, there's a big restriction that comes up, a big block, an uncomfortableness. When you feel that uncomfortableness, know there is something directly ahead for you, specifically for you. What if we told you that fear is actually an opportunity for advancement every single time? You'll start to see that in different ways because now you're not moving at the old pace. You're moving at an incredible pace, almost as if something were leading you through a funnel. Out here at the top of the funnel, it moves at one pace. When it comes down here, you're moving at an incredible different rate. And that's taking place everywhere right now. You have choice. You'll find most of the people that are having the most difficult times stepping into the new energy are those people that are having difficulty letting go of their old belief systems. And it doesn't mean that belief systems are wrong, even though we've termed them as BS or bullshit, if you wish. But the reality is it's something that humans can hang on to and hold on to. And if it is an evolutionary process, there's never any problem with it. It's when belief systems become very staunch and very, very defined, if you will, and very unmovable. And yet, those unmovable ones are the ones that you reach for when you run into challenges. Isn't that interesting? Take a look. There's many places around, and as we mentioned, dear ones, there's no evil on your planet. You're all humans. You're all spirits of great magnitude. You're playing a game. Yes, you're disconnected, but none of you are evil. And that's the piece to watch for. Stay away from those determinative words that will take you back into a predetermined lifestyle and a belief system and a bodysuit that takes a lot of energy to maintain in these times of evolution. So what we ask you to do is look around. And instead of coming to snap decisions about things, instead of revisiting all your negativities every morning when you wake up, the idea is you can find something positive every day to focus on. Now, you still have to deal with your negativities. You still have to deal with the problems you didn't resolve the day before, but starting it out, setting that pace, setting that energy is quite a different situation. And you'll find that much easier going forward. Dear ones, you're in incredible times here. You are the way showers on planet Earth. We know that many of you are feeling lost. You're feeling out of place. You're feeling like, do I really belong here, or do I really have something to contribute? You have no idea. Just even the energy you've already been holding has already made a difference on this planet just by being here. We can tell you, dear ones, there are many opportunities for planet Earth. And several of them have already passed. In other words, you've already extended the game further than it was originally designed, or that one of the opportunities would have taken you to. Now, as we mentioned, originally planet Earth was designed to last roughly about 1,000 more years from now, which is actually an interesting piece. It's shown up in different areas as well. But the reality of it is you have so many different alternate ways you can go and so many things. You're on the planet of free choice. Nothing is set in stone. You have even capabilities of going beyond that if you find that harmony with the earth, and you have everything that you need. You have help around you from even some of your parental races that you know very little about. You have guidance. You have all the process. But what you don't have is the understanding or the vision of where you're going. There's no way to give that to you. But we can tell you this. You can walk with your eyes closed with a confidence. But if you simply reach out and take other people's hands and walk with your eyes closed, it becomes much easier, doesn't it? Not as difficult as it sounds. The reality is you can help each other. And when you see someone having great difficulties with them, and you see someone reaching back into ancient belief systems or even just old aspects of belief systems, know that they're reaching because they're in fear. Work with the fear. It'll take some time. Planet Earth is going through a massive change. But it doesn't mean you have to be wrapped up in it in a negative way. It doesn't mean that you have to go through these processes in different ways and work with that. What it means is you have choice. Choose well and choose often. You're in the perfect place to make a huge difference on this planet, which is why you chose planet Earth in the first place. Welcome home, everyone. Welcome home. I am observer. I get to see the large picture. I don't even focus on the details. It's so much easier and so much more beautiful. We are looking at love right now. Welcome home, everyone. Take this time and make it special. And we challenge you for these next few weeks to find that good in people. Even if you're talking with a supposed enemy, find that spot, find that one place where you can find those commonalities and move forward. Because right now it'll make a difference more than you could possibly know. So with the greatest of honor, I ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another at every opportunity. Hold the doors open for each other. And you'll see the planet change very quickly. Welcome home. I am Observer, and I do like to watch. Espavo. Special thanks to everybody. They're there helping producing. This is a lot of fun for us, but at the same time, it's also a lot of work. I just want to thank everybody. Meg Adamson, you've done an incredible job, my dear. Great job. And also does excellent private sessions for those of you who really want to move. There's our website. Allison Chester Lambert, you are an incredible gift to us. Thank you so much for your work. And again, she does private sessions too, does private readings for people, kind of explain a little bit about it, AllisonChesterLambert.com. Well done. She is the BBC, she's on BBC all the time in the UK. Elena Era, she puts a magical touch to all the stuff that we're working with. Thank you so much. And Nick Pneumatikos, no wait, I got to say it right, Pneumatikos, that's it. Got to put the accent where it belongs. He's our webmaster. He takes care of a lot of the technical issues for us. Thank you so much, Nick. Awesome work. And of course, we've got Kathy Moran. She's the one that deals with all the problems we have from time to time. She's our support services. And then we have, of course, Gail. Gail is a producer that's been with us for some time, puts a very professional touch on everything we're doing. Awesome job, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here at Espavo. Espavo, the word itself, means thank you for taking your power. If all of us do that just a little bit, we can change this world. It's that simple. Have a great week. Have a good month. Espavo, everybody.